God made laws. Have you ever wondered why there are so many rules? Are rules just there to keep us from having fun? Is the Bible a big book of don't do this or don't do that? Let's look at why God gave us his rules. When God first created people, he made a beautiful garden for them to live in. Adam and Eve had everything they needed to be happy and close to God. There was only one rule. They could eat from any tree in the garden except one. But Adam and Eve broke that rule. They ate from the one tree God told them not to touch. This was the very first sin, and it broke their close relationship with God. For the first time, they felt shame, guilt, and sadness. When they broke God's rule, many hard things came into the world. Sin, sickness, sadness, pain, and even death became part of life. The perfect world God had made was now broken, and people needed guidance to live well. Later, when Moses was leading the people of Israel through the wilderness, God gave him the 10 Commandments. They taught people to love God and love others by honoring their parents, telling the truth, and treating others kindly. But those weren't the only rules. God also gave Moses many practical laws to help the people live safely and stay healthy. For example, he taught them to wash their hands, avoid certain foods, and deal with things like mold, which could spread disease. God even gave rules on resting one day a week, the Sabbath, and letting the land rest every 7 years so it could grow better food. All these rules were there to protect people and make life better. Jesus also taught about God's rules. He said the greatest commands are to love God with all your heart and to love your neighbor as yourself. Think of it like this. Imagine there were no traffic lights or stop signs. Drivers wouldn't know when to stop or go, and people might crash into each other and get hurt. Traffic lights keep things organized and safe. They don't take away our freedom. They help us get where we need to go without getting hurt. Or think of bedtime rules. If you stayed up all night, you'd probably feel tired and cranky. Bedtime helps you get the rest you need, so you can feel happy, healthy, and strong. God's rules also help us enjoy life and be happy, healthy, and strong. But what happens when we break the rules? Just like there are consequences when we don't listen to our parents, teachers, or even the police, there are consequences when we break God's rules. The biggest problem is sin. Sin separates us from God and brings sadness, shame, and pain into our lives. While we should always try to follow God's laws to enjoy life, they also show us that we can't keep every rule perfectly. Romans 7:7 says, God's law helps us see our need for Him. We need something more than rules. We need a way to be close to God again. That's where Jesus comes in. We couldn't live a perfect life, so Jesus came and did it for us. He lived perfectly, never breaking a single rule, and then took the punishment for our sins. Because of His sacrifice, when we trust in Jesus, we are forgiven, and Jesus shares His goodness with us. Jesus gives us a fresh start, so we can enjoy a friendship with Him.